Recording. So welcome to and we've changed the name of the series a little bit to Let's Talk About business coaching, that type of thing. This is number 14 in the sequence, and we're going to be talking about taking your business online. And this has really triggered, at least for me, two reasons. One, because we're doing it, and I guess a lot of coaches out there use a traditional model around either face-to-face coaching, which was the old way when I think probably Kev, you and I started. I used to drive around the UK in my little silver car and do 90,000 miles, and it was horrific. But the system was to take it onto the telephone, which I never really got, never understood. Now, of course, we did it via Zoom, we did via Skype. Given the lockdown, a lot of our work, 99% of our work now is over Zoom. It'll stay that way anyway. But then the next level for us, and I think for a lot of coaches out there, is how do we take this rather than just being a coaching association where it's face-to-face via Zoom, what other programs can we have? And we're looking to take products and programs online into subscription basis now as well. So that's what we're going to be looking at. Has anybody on the call just done this? Anybody got any experience of doing this or got online programs and subscriptions, that sort of thing? No, okay. Is this something, how far are you guys with this?
Yeah, I have an online group coaching program now, okay. which was face-to-face, which is now online and looks like it's staying online. So, yeah.
Good. So, and I think the reason I'm looking at it and seeing it out there is because we do, as I think all of us do, one-to-one, which is the sort of the premium program, if you like, which is great. But it does mean, like, you can see the wind in France is really picking up. The curtains coming out. Anyway, is that we can absolutely maintain and continue that. But it would be good to have other programs, like you say, group coaching is leveraged, workshops are leveraged, but also having people who sign up and maybe they're going to pay, I don't know, $25 a month, and they get access through a group for videos and content. And then from that pipeline builds through group coaching and one-to-one as well. So we're looking at sort of programs like Thinkific. I think that's the right terminology for it, the online training platform. But we can do this even through Facebook, through subscription and other things as well. So the way we're going to approach it, but we'll open up to discussion as well, is start off with a free, maybe Facebook or LinkedIn group, probably Facebook, a free group, as people come build a community. Then we go into the next one, which would be a paid Facebook group where we have maybe presentations or workshops or group conversations, that type of thing. And then from there, they go into group. And otherwise, I think it's the first two, which are things that can be delivered, being blunt, without me being there, which are the ones that we're going to go for, because that sort of leverage is going to be the key. So we're looking at, Facebook, products, programs, videos, and content. Really is to build up the pipeline for us to fill our workshops. But I don't know, anybody what are your thoughts and experience around that? Is that something you're looking at as well?
Yeah, I think there's a huge membership economy, and we've talked about it, and it's, the Netflix or the Amazon Prime or whatever has brought about this membership economy where you pay a small amount of money, but you get access to, and so I think there's that, and I think people don't miss £25-30 a month, no, or whatever, especially if you give real good value and real good content. So there's a no barrier to entry there, which is good. The other thing is that you go for wallet share as opposed to market share, which is always a good thing. But also, more importantly, I think it's the top of the funnel, isn't it? So it's another lead generation strategy. And if you can do it right, you're actually getting paid to produce leads, because people are paying you that £25 a month, or so, then they want something more and something more and something more. And eventually they'll get onto the premium one-to-one coaching. And there's a huge question at the moment for me about, is one-to-one coaching dead? I still do one-to-one coaching.
Yeah.
But there's a huge movement now in the coaching world, in the coaching industry, going towards the kind of mastermind model, which I don't like the term mastermind, no, sure, but that's what it is. But group coaching kind of model, which is more leverage for us as coaches, It's a lower entry point for businesses, so it's an easier sell.
Yeah.
And C, it produces a community.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that you need to create a good coaching business, is making it social, and making that community, which ultimately do your selling for you.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting, this thing about the one-to-one coaching. Is it over? Is it dead? And it's certainly moving towards group and leveraged and so community based. I think there'll be a place for the one-to-one relationship. I think some of the people that we work with, where they wouldn't go on a group. There's no way they go on a group. It's difficult getting them on a one-to-one call sometimes, because there's their style and their business, that type of thing. So there's a place for it. But I think you're absolutely right in terms of scalability and scope and influencing more people and adding value to more people through group. And I was invited to a group, and it was something like 250 a month, to be an exclusive group of 40 people, all delivered via Zoom. You get one meeting a month, and you get some other bits and pieces. It's like, crikey, that's good. That's a great thing from a leverage point of view. It's great for them. It was more referral-based type arrangement rather than business growth, but equally the same principles apply. So I think it is going that way, and I think the challenge is that I think a lot of people who are not sort of seasoned campaigners, like maybe we are on this call, are jumping straight into this and going down the leverage group route, not doing a very good job of it because they haven't got the knowledge or the content to be able to sustain it. But where people like us, who have got the track record, if you like, and the history, we can build this. Well, if you think of the content we've got, we can put into this sort of thing. I think it is a golden opportunity. So where to start with? I mean, what are your thoughts around kickstarting everybody listening to this who hasn't got a program to start? Is it going to be a sort of Facebook group for free, and then through the paid route and off we go? Is that a good start point, do you think?
Yeah, and you mentioned Thinkific there, which is good. Yeah. Another good platform is Kajabi.
Yeah.
Is a good learning platform, which is more higher end, I think.
Yeah.
And then you've got the more lower end, like Patreon, which is a good platform. Yeah. It's more for the arts, really, but it can be adapted, but it's to business. But yeah, I mean, I think it starts with a free Facebook group.
Yeah.
And look, it's not easy, right? Because you've got to be present every single day.
That's right.
And you've got to be posting every single day, or doing lives or videos or something.
Yeah.
So it's certainly not, as some would have you believe, a get rich quick scheme. You know, I'm thinking of a couple. I'm sure you know a couple who are just. It seems like they do nothing in order to create these masterminds that bring in hundreds of thousands of pounds or whatever.
Yeah.
A, it's all smoke and mirrors, and B, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background that you've got to spend big on Facebook ads in order to make that happen. So it's a slower burn, but you create that community that are very loyal.
Do you think, comparing, contrasting, I mean, the two big social media sites, I think from what we're looking at is, Facebook aligned with Instagram, but Facebook and LinkedIn, and LinkedIn has got, in my experience, more business people on it, or business types who are more sensible to work with. But I do wonder whether, from a group perspective, Facebook, there's a lot more startups, micro businesses, that sort of thing on Facebook. Great for community and Kickstarter. Do they migrate though? Do the people on Facebook that start on a group there, would they become the more traditional one-to-one or mastermind type program clients, do you think, as well?
Yeah, I think so, because as you grow their business, they're growing their revenue and they're seeing more of you.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn haven't done groups very well. I don't know why. Yeah. They just don't do it very well. They just missed it. They've missed the algorithm misses it for some reason. I don't know. So which is why getting them into the Facebook community is key, I think, because they just do it so much better than LinkedIn. But it's having a presence on all of those platforms, isn't it? I think.
I think so. I had a connection contact me end of last week, and can we have a conversation, which was already good. And she was really interesting. It wasn't a sales meeting, just a conversation meeting, which was absolutely fine. And I said to her, how did you find me? Because, you know, she's based in Northampton in the UK, and she's doing this other project, and how did you find me? And it was common thread. It was common thread of connections that we also shared. And so I popped up on her radar, had a nice, you know, conversation. She's great, all very good to have in the network. But it is this sort of momentum of having broad-based connections on Facebook and LinkedIn, and then building it. But you say you've got to feed it all the time. Then I think I feed the monster, I guess, with content, videos, blogs, and posts, and everything like that to give the value there.
Yeah, definitely. I had a similar last week, and I said, "How did you find me?" Because we hadn't connected at all.
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, I've always watched your videos. I've watched them for about a year now." And his words were, "So you are in my ear."
Right, there you go. Yeah.
Which is, I thought was a really interesting turn of phrase.
Yeah.
You know, top of mind, in his ear, you know, that kind of thing, which I thought, you know, interesting. Someone who doesn't interact with me on LinkedIn at all, doesn't message me, doesn't comment, doesn't like, but I'm in his ear. Yeah. I like that. I like that.
That's a great point. Yeah. Because there are people watching us that we don't know about, aren't there? You know, that we don't even know aware of. And as you said, they pop up, and I think this happened to all of us. I'm sure this, where a message pops up out the blue, or an email comes in, and you go, crikey, that was a surprise. You know, that was a surprise. And we don't really know where they came from, but it's a great point you make. They're in their ear. But that's why these groups and sort of passive marketing we're doing with them is if we can get them to subscribe into it, is a great place to go. So how do you fill it with the Facebook group? I mean, I'm assuming, because we're literally doing this, we're going to invite people into it. We're going to do events. We're going to do seminars and workshops and put people into the group. Any tips there? Any thoughts or experience around filling a Facebook group on this level?
Make it easy, I think. Make sure you qualify the people coming into the Facebook. So on my Facebook group, for example, I have questions, and so I have 3 questions. So on this particular Facebook group, I'm particularly targeting veteran-owned companies. So the first question is, are you a veteran? Right?
Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah. And I only want to deal with business owners. So the second question is, are you a business owner? Yeah. Right? Yeah. So, and then I think the third question is, what's your biggest challenge right now? But I'm always not fussed about what they put, because I just want that barrier to be in there so that I'm getting the right people in the group.
Is one of the questions that, were you on the balcony? Because this seems to be everybody.
Yeah, I need to change it. Yeah, definitely. So because what you get in that group, I know every single person in that group is a veteran-owned business.
Yeah.
So I'm immediately, my message is refined, my target is refined, my offer is refined. Yeah. So I'm going to do particular messages in that group that I'm not going to do on LinkedIn that go out to different. But it's about being present every single day, I think, in that group, and giving away a lot of free stuff. I'm still in the stage of giving away free stuff in that group,
which I think is fine. I think that one of the things, and we do this as well, I think we have an email database, so we're going to send out to a big database. We send out a blog, for example, a weekly blog goes out on a Wednesday, should go out tomorrow anyway. That's on a Wednesday, blog goes out. Now that's they're subscribed for that, all very good. But about 2 or 3 days later, I'll publish that blog on LinkedIn. It goes as an article, so it's published anyway. So the timing is a key. I think you can give it away, but if you give it away exclusively, you can give it away to anybody after that. They've got the first taste of it. So
yeah, I mean, it's all the same content.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's just repurposed in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think that's also, you can spend hours or you can spend months and months and months making up content. You don't need to. You need to have a core of content that speaks to your target market, and it's repurposed all the time. And then, instead of that blog, and then maybe you put out a video a couple of days later on the blog topic, not reading it out verbatim or word for word, but doing a different angle on it, for example, or stuff like that. I think that's absolutely key as well.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay, so I'm just checking if Dirk's going to join it. He hasn't seen the message, so he's not going to. Anyway, no matter. Right. So we got a free. Let's go for Facebook. We're a free group on Facebook. Let's say we get, I don't know, 500 people in the free group, whatever it is.
Yeah.
How do we then migrate them from that group to the Facebook plus one, which is 25 quid a month? And for that, what are they going to get? My take on it would be what they're going to get is specific content, maybe a group call, a live conversation, a call, and maybe discounted access to workshops that we do, that type of thing. So they get sort of, 500 quid's value a month, but 25 quid almost, if you like. But how do we migrate them across? Just by invitation, by special deals or something like that, do you think? Or?
Yeah, I think once you've given out your content, you start to give out your content, you start to drip feed that out there.
Yeah.
I think it's about making the right offer at the right time. Mm-hmm. And what you just said there is that, £500 for £500 value for £25 a month, right? That's really important. Is value stacking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in this other Facebook group, you get everything you get here, plus you get this, and you get this, and you get this, and you get this, and you get a call with me, and you get.
Yeah.
Which doesn't have much monetary value on our side,
sure,
but it has a lot of perceived value from the client or from the potential client side.
But is that where, and again, is that where they get access to the coach? They can have a one-on-one consultation or group consultation or something like that. They begin to have access to us then, rather than just the recorded content. It's live. It's really meeting up. I mean, I would hesitate to do a one-on-one consultation with anybody for 25 quid a month. But,
yeah. No, that's too soon. But what they might get is a monthly group call.
Yeah.
For example, whether they're on the call or not, this is the thing. But that's what they get, a monthly group call.
Yes.
I think it's too soon for a one-to-one meeting at that time.
Yeah.
I don't think they've had enough of you initially, but yeah, one of the things in the value stack is they get you for an hour a month essentially, and other people do as well, but so I think that's really, it does definitely, yeah.
And we're going to be putting in there, so we have I think that is a group call once a month, and then we'll probably do a planning session, workshop to which anybody can come to it, but they get special access at a discounted rate for this sort of thing. My view is we're going to take them through the workshop route, and then if they want to come on the group coaching program, where there's going to be a group of only 8 people on it, not just the whole group, a group of 8 people with one call and something, that's the next one. And then it could lead into the one-to-one as we go along. Is that how you see the sort of funnel working as well? Something similar to that?
Yeah. Or private webinars, that kind of thing. And, and lots of maybe you chuck a book in there as well.
Yes.
I think.
Okay. Yes.
At some point, maybe. Yeah. Have you written one? I don't know.
Apparently, allegedly.
So that's when they get a book and they get something else, and eventually you but don't forget, all this time they are revenue generating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
So you sending your book out, there's no cost to you, and they've already paid for it.
Yeah.
Whereas traditionally, to get a one-to-one client, you might send out a book as part of the sales process. That's a cost to you, to your business.
Absolutely.
Whereas this way, they're paying for it, which is the holy grail of getting clients, surely.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it is strange. I sent a copy of one of the books with new clients. Joking aside, new clients, so send them a copy of the book, and away we go. And this book arrived from Amazon on their desk, and he phoned me. He said, I didn't know you'd written a book. This is amazing. And I'd forgotten, genuinely, he hadn't read it yet. So when he's read it, it won't be that amazing, but still. But when he received it, and I'd sort of forgotten the power of having a book that that drops on the desk. It's just like a 1/2-inch thick business card, or 12.5 millimeters for my European friends, millimeter thick business cards, but it does have an impact in more than one way, because it was really, wow, this is really cool to receive something like this, and shouldn't be underrated. I know you've got a book under publication as well. It's something, even in this day and age of ebooks and video and things like that, there is something about having this tangibility of products to send to people as well. It's a great point that you make. So.
Yeah, and because you can send an ebook, but how many emails does a business owner get a day? Hundreds probably. Yeah. But to actually get something physically through the post that they can hold in their hands, and it's something different. it brings you top of mind again. You know, gets
Yeah.
them excited.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is really important.
And if they read it, I'm in trouble, right? Because I've forgotten what I wrote it now, to be fair, but should be recorded. But this is one of those things. But I think we've got to keep, just for me, whether this is old school coming through or not, I think we want to keep the digital, the video, but also we want to go down the old route of, you know, a book and meeting people. And, you know, the question is there a place now for physical workshops? And I was wondering about that. I know, Kev, you and I have mentioned this as well. Is there a space for physical workshops anymore? And I think there is. There's a place for Zoom, there's a place for group, there's a place for all sorts of things. But we're doing some work starting next month with a new UK client doing a whole series of workshops. And he said, look, Zoom's great, but we want you over here as well. We want you to do a couple of days and half days for us as well. So I think there's this hybrid model where we do a lot of Zoom stuff and online and video and stuff like that. But I still think there's a place maybe for workshops or retreats or events at maybe signature locations and that type of thing. That I think there's a place for that still, though.
Yeah, you've still got to hit all the learning styles, and if you're doing your sales process right, and that you're hitting, there's going to be a kinesthetic person who wants that touchy-feely thing, right? Yeah. So you still got to hit all your learning styles in the sales process, and that's just part of it. You know, like I say, Zoom that is great. It hits one learning style though.
Yes. Yeah.
So you still got to do all the rest, I think. Yeah.
But I think the workshop style, being physically present in a room with people, I hope, if I'm right, there is still going to be a place where we used to do lots of events in Luxembourg. We haven't done one for 18 months now because of all the restrictions, but we're literally getting back to the point now where we can consider, and I think it's going to be September. Everybody shuts in August over here anyway, but September onwards, getting back in the office, do some, you know, networking events, that type of thing. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a market for that on top of all the video stuff we're doing at the same time. So we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Yeah.
And so pricing, if you're looking at you've got a free Facebook group, we've got the first paid Facebook group. I'm guessing at $25, euros, dollars, whatever. Is that about right, do you think? I mean, what sort of level? 25, 30 quid?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, £30 a month is reasonable. Nobody misses it.
Yeah.
You get great content for that. You know, every business in the world can afford £30 a month, I think. So there's absolutely no reason why they can't join that free Facebook, that paid for Facebook group, I think.
But you know, if you get 5,000 people on that, it's not bad. That'll work well, wouldn't it? You know, if on a leverage basis, you can do that, and it only takes a few videos and content that spreads. Then that would be a very nice, interesting model, wouldn't it? Actually, thinking about it. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And again, you're not doing anything for those leads. They come to you. They're paying for themselves. And I think there's a level in between that and one-to-one coaching. I think there's, you know, a couple of £100, euros, or, you know, £300-400 euros. I think there's a level there.
Yes.
And then the one-to-one coaching on the top, which I honestly believe in the future of coaching, you know, you will have a handful of one-to-one clients, but you'll have the majority of people on a mastermind type group coaching thing.
And I think it is going to go that way. It is going that way. I think I as a coach, like to have one-to-one clients, and the reason for that is I think we add great value, all that sort of thing, but also I think it keeps us on top of our game because we're working on a deep dive with a client. We know all about them, what they're doing. It keeps us sharp, and for me, I'd like to retain that, but also this will be additional other business as well to come through some missing ingredients. And I think the market is out there. There's loads of people doing it that aren't really, I say, qualified for it, and that, whatever the right word is. So the quality of some of these programs is not great, whereas what we can bring to it is, you know, history, quality, and knowledge and real credibility for it. So it's definitely the thing to move forwards with. So okay,
I'm not going to move away from one-to-one coaching at all.
No.
But I think it will get less and less, and group coaching will get more and more. I just think that's the way the world is going.
But it opens up international markets for us, doesn't it? You know, we can be on, providing the time zones are right. We can find a variety of countries, and, you know, for me, as long as they're English speaking, they're good. The lady opposite to us, she told me my French was very good yesterday over the weekend. We were in the garden. I was speaking about. She said, "Well, your French is very good." I thought, "Crikey!"
That's the compliment from a French person.
All I was saying is we had some sprouts in the garden, which is not the most complex French term in the world. But anyway, but English speaking is good for me, I guess. Anyway, so all right. Cool. So let's throw it open because we're up to. Let's throw it open to conversation. Any thoughts, ideas, experience around? Is this something that for Kev, Murray, you would build into your practices as well?
We have got a lot of workshops online that are privately online. We can give out people access to.
Yeah.
And I have done. I've noticed some. I don't know if you might know him, Gareth Jasdara.
Oh, I know Jazz. Yeah, I know Jazz. Yes,
he's selling courses now, £49. So he's broken the 6 steps, is it, down into individual blocks, and he'll sell you a course on time mastery and a finance mastery and things like this. And I think they're 49 quid each.
Oh well, it's actually I think for the first month it's £1.
Is it?
Wow. Yeah. So month 1 is £1.
All right.
But then it goes up to, I think you're right, £49 or whatever it is. I think. Yeah.
Good lad. No.
Yeah. I suppose. I mean, one of the questions all right, Gareth. I know you're on FacePack, right? But how do I know you've got a group?
You know, I've got a specific veteran group.
Yeah, how would I know about it? I'm a veteran, and I've never heard of it.
Yeah, agreed. Totally agree. And that's probably something I've missed. However, I advertise it in other veteran groups, if that makes so. I invite people from those groups into that group. Yeah. So if we're not connected on Facebook, you won't see it. Yeah. And I've been very tight about who I'm letting in, if that makes sense. No, I wouldn't let you in.
Obviously, you don't qualify. Because Ken wasn't on the balcony. That's what it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can invite you in.
I don't know if we're connected.
Backpedaling now.
I don't know if we are connected.
Invite you in.
Quick, send him an invite. Big an invite.
Yeah, I've been very niche about what I've been doing. You're right. I wouldn't put it on LinkedIn that I've got this private Facebook group because I want to be very, very niche about it. Yeah.
But again, I guess from a business coaching perspective, I mean, and this is one of the things I see a lot of people talk about is niche. What is your niche? And I think you're absolutely right. Or the veterans is a very very narrow niche in a lot of ways, but the guys and gals in there, when they're as veterans, they do loads of different stuff, don't they? So it's not like all, they're not all doing outward bounds training. I assume they're doing lots of other things as well. So it is very refined, but it is pretty broad as well. And I think for lots of people, what is your niche? What is it?
Yeah.
Should we niche down the chartered accountant route, or the lawyer route, or the fitness route, or the martial arts route? I'm not sure. I think a lot of people are doing that. And I wonder if there's a niche there for SME business owners, whether you're running a web design company or a martial arts business or whatever it is. Should we let them all in anyway and just have it sort of very, very broad based?
I think niching in the industry, I think that works, but I also think that you can niche to a demographic.
Yeah.
And you can niche to, if you follow the disc profile, you could, if you wanted, niche to high Ds or high Cs or something like that. I firmly believe that's a thing.
Yeah.
Somebody once told me that people who leave the forces and start their own business either sell coffee or T-shirts or coffee and T-shirts. There's a lot of veterans selling coffee. That's what I'll say. But they do a range of things, training companies and fitness companies and all sorts. Yeah. It's quite drone companies. I
saw one pop up. It's not actually on LinkedIn, I think, and I can't think who he was now. Ex-military, and they said they will teach your people how to withstand interrogation. it's like, crikey, that's a heck of a training program. I was wondering what businesses really need their people to be interrogation safe. You know, I don't know, maybe there's a niche there. There's definitely a niche there, bless them. But still,
Yeah,
coffee and t-shirts. There you go.
yeah, you're right, Kev. And what I should be doing as well, by the way, is as well as organic posting, I should be doing paid for ads.
Yeah.
And targeting veteran-owned businesses into the group.
Yeah.
Which I haven't done yet because I don't think I've needed to. But yeah, that's what I should be. And in that instance, I am sure you would get a ad for the group. Yeah.
And he will let you in. You're okay, Kev.
Yeah, I will absolutely let you in. I'm inviting you. I'm going to invite you now.
Brilliant. So, Marie, is this something, I know you're in more you're in the coaching business, but more maybe the sort of life coaching, personal coaching side, but same principles apply. Is this something you've considered for yourself as well?
Not yet, because I'm lacking the free content that I need to build over time. I am a newbie, but I have seen it around me. Yeah, there is already a lot of life coaches, or I'm working with a specific type of marketing guy is doing it as well. He's moving his entire business from individual workshops and books to subscriptions.
Yeah.
It's just when you started the training today saying that individual coaching is dead, that's really something I've kind of sensed, because again, I'm starting, so I can see when I take one approach or the other, I can see the difference. The way people respond is kind of immediate in one way or the other. And as you know, I was doing a training for all this stuff around the law of attraction, sort of a very practical law of attraction. And the response from, I give that for free. I have had to do in my coaching training, individual coaching for free. And this time it was kind of a tiny group, but the way that I was saying it's going to be a tiny group, it was also giving people like the opportunity to not hide, but like they knew that it was going to be with me, but kind of not directly with me. So I think the fact that it was a group gave the opportunity to people to join where they wouldn't have joined if it was like one-to-one thing, even though it was free. But yeah, so I do believe it's a good opportunity to kind of bring people in and then see if they want to continue with one-to-one or something else.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the thing, it enables us to reach out to a much broader audience. People dip in and dip out, you know, as we find doing workshops and events, and even this one, you know, sometimes people can make this one, sometimes they can't, which is absolutely fine. But we've got to have that sort of consistency of approach. I think the organizer got to be consistent with it as much as they can, and then people can jump in and jump out as well. But the network will spread. I mean, Dirk jumped in and then jumped straight out again. Hope he's okay. But anyway, we nearly got Dirk this week. But you know, but it happens. But if we're consistent with it, the group will grow and build and develop as we go along. Same on the Facebook groups, I guess. And so what happens. I mean, I don't have interest. How do we, how do we all differentiate ourselves? Because the market is, I don't say saturated, but a lot of people out there attempting to do this. And I listened to a webcast earlier on today, and this lady saying, and rightly so, she's saying that 80% of coaching practices crash and burn in the first 2 years. Not because people aren't great coaches, but because they don't target, they don't market, they're not unique, they don't have all this stuff around. But so how do we differentiate ourselves from the other people out there? So we've got these guys are credible and know what they're doing. What any actual tips and ideas there, do you think? Stony silence.
If you find it, just if you could share it, I'm all in for it.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. But it's an interesting question, and I think the challenge is that we market ourselves. I think we all do, Kev, and for you and Sue as well, and Gareth for you, to an extent on personality, which I think is okay, but there's a limit to that because people are attracted to us because of who we are and what we do. But when we look at the groups and the content, we can't be personality driven. I think it's got to be value driven, knowledge driven, creativity, innovation, and that sort of thing. So we've got to almost remove our personalities a little bit, which is going to be a challenge for us because, you know, it's how we want people to love us. So that's going to be a bit of a trick. But I think the differentiation is going to be the quality of the content, the creativity, the innovation, this type of thing, the stories we can tell and whatever. And that's where it's going to have to be, that we attract people to us because of that then.
Yeah. I think from Marie's point of view, starting out as well, sometimes the best thing to do is just get conversations going. You know, don't be worried about the yes. Get as many no's as you can, because you're moving you one step closer to a yes. So often people, free coaching sessions is not a bad idea. And a good thing to do at the end of that is to gather testimonials from those people. You know, if they've had a really good session with you, then get a testimonial from them. Gives you a little bit more gravitas. But get as many conversations as you. What was it, 5 a week or something like that?
Yeah.
Is that still the rule?
5 a day, I think. 5 a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I think. I think differentiating yourself is. I mean, so what the reason why coaching businesses fail is not because, like I said, not because they're not a great coach, but they see it as a coaching business. I think initially, shoot me down if I'm wrong, if you disagree, but I think when you start, you don't have a coaching business. You have a sales and marketing business.
Yeah.
And I think too many people think that just being a good coach is enough. Yes. And it's not. You need to have the sales and marketing head as well.
Yes. And I think it's a great point. I think the ability to, when somebody says to you, what do you do, or why should I work with you, or what value do you bring, or why the heck do I need a coach? We've got to be able to defend our corner a bit with something. And I had a sales conversation with somebody last week, and all booked in, and they're pitching to us for some services. It was all good, and we started off. When he came on the call, the first thing he said was, what would have to happen on this call for you to get great value? And I thought, crikey! I said to him, you've read this system. I know what you're going to go through. Please don't just give me the script. And he was lost. He was just lost because he couldn't go off. He was going to go through the checklist. It's like, crikey! I've got too many grey hairs, you know. And if people are using that sort of thing, no wonder they're not converting people. Bless him. Anyway, so
I love that. I love it. I see that all the time, and I'm like, I know exactly what question you're going to ask next. Yeah, keep it coming. Keep it coming. And now we're going to temperature check, and now we're going to do the price, and he's going to check for any objections now. And it's.
Does that fit with what you had in mind?
Yes.
It's too early for that question. It's too early for that question now.
It's. I mean, that could be the topic of another talk that we do actually about, you know, is that traditional kind of sales thing, is it worth doing anymore? I don't know.
I think that's dead. I think that is dead now, because I've seen the people who go down the scripted. I mean, I think process is good, you know, an approach to sales.
Yes,
absolutely. But then when it's so highly scripted, where you can almost feel them reading the script and ticking the box and trying to find, you know, 7 yeses in a conversation, all this bizarre sort of stuff. I mean, crikey, I'm pretty sure people see through that now. So maybe we'll pick up on that on another one of these. Maybe next week we'll do a sales approach. Well, it was refresh the sales approach, but it was quite comical to see it, because I'm sat there waiting then for the next, you know. But I think because I know what to say to not go down the route. It's a little bit of a game almost, which is a real shame, because he was a good lad, and we're probably going to do something anyway, but not on that basis, unfortunately. But how do we sell? Good point. Okay. So, any other thoughts? Anything around the online? Marie, you said you.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask a question, because I am in the scenario that since I started to try to build my business, it is COVID, so it's directly online. But like, how do you start from zero when it's purely online? So like I have no networking in real life, let's say. I have colleagues and all, but they are not related to this specific business. So like, how do you start from scratch online with very little networking? If you have tips and tricks with your gray hair, I'm on it.
I'm too young. I'm too young for grey hair.
Yeah, you are exactly too young. When we first came back from the US into which is like 10, 11 years ago, Linda and I sat down and said, what are we going to do? How do we build this thing? What are we going to do? And Lynn's job, it still is to a degree, her job was to make me famous. And I don't mean that in any sort of celebrity way, but make me visible, make me famous in Luxembourg and that sort of thing. And the way we did it, we did do some physical networking, which I think will come back, you know, for Luxembourg. And I'll recommend that for everybody. But it was content, videos, books, ebooks, webinars, seminars, you know, be a guest writer in a publication, be interviewed by people, run a podcast. So I think all those things apply. The only thing we can't do right now is the physical networking, but it is that, how do we make you famous? And I think, you know, there's still a place for a book, a physical book. It just does make a difference. Do videos, do content, run a podcast, interview people yourself. You be interviewed, you interview people, put content out there, connect with people, and just make a splash, which is a horrible way of putting it, but just put it out there. You know, video, Facebook, social media, TikTok, Instagram, the whole thing. My photographs of the garden gate that we built over the weekend got more views than my post on sales and marketing, which really irritates me, but there we go. So make it personal, you know, put yourself out there as well, I think.
Yeah,
would be my tips, but that's from the grey head corner. How about the younger quarter?
No, but that's good.
well, I think he's talking to you, Kev.
Younger. I've just got it up on there now. There is actually a book, I've never read it, by a guy called Cal Newport. Be so good they can't ignore you.
Yeah.
And he says you don't need social media, you don't need any of that stuff to turn around and get yourself out there. Yeah. Cal Newport is CAL Newport. Be so good they can't ignore you. Yeah. So I think it's just putting content out. One thing I would say about to Marie as well, because we've heard this 80% of coaching businesses fail. There's a lot of coaching businesses thrive as well.
Yeah.
You know, there are some people who fly in this world.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah.
No, I think the one that was I think it was called the Coaching Revolution or something. I think a group on. I'm going to say
I'm part of that group.
Oh, yeah. Are you? Oh, okay. I mean, this video popped up, and then the lady who's doing this made a bit of sense. You know, bless her, she was right. I'm sure this 80% gets knocked around quite a bit, but yeah, we do need to focus on. There's another reason 80% of businesses and coaching businesses fail is because people don't know what they're doing. That's basically it. So yeah,
I joined that group specifically to see what they are doing in order to get people into their group. Right? So in fact, you know, another point to make is if you are thinking about doing this, join other groups, and see how they do it. And I'm not sure if they're going to see this video. I don't particularly think they're very good, but
it's just good advice, isn't it? A bit of market research, that's all.
Yes, definitely. But that's really helped me. Is, you know, you see a group pop up and you think, well, you know, when I'm just naturally curious. Like I subscribe to anyone's email list, competitors. You know, people. You know, I just because I want to see how they do it, what their chain is like, what their sequence is like, and then I can unsubscribe if I want, or you know, keep going. But I join a lot of groups just to see how they do it, which is very good. Yeah,
and I think as well, it is having that I think confidence to put yourself out there. Take the risk of being famous, but being seen, you know, being visible, because some people will like you, some people won't, and who cares? Well, you care if they like you, I suppose, but just having that sort of the nerve to put your ideas out there, your thoughts and those sort of things. And I get messages come through social media wise that some people, they like what I do and some people don't. Enough people like it, I think, that sustains what we do and that type of thing. So just be brave enough to put your ideas and thoughts out there, you know, whether it's to do on the spectrum in coaching from, you know, law of attraction and this sort of thing on this side over to profit and loss and balance sheets on this side and all things in between. All things go. I mean, we've got a blog coming out on Thursday, which is all about law of attraction, which is you know, great. Some people like it, some people don't, but, you know, put it out there, see what happens.
Yeah, so almost like, you know, being controversial is good.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Not too controversial,
Yeah.
but
It's a good point. We do have to be careful, don't we? Because if there are certain subjects that would sort of trigger subjects, and rightly so, but I avoid, politics and religion and those, just because obviously not that I'm particularly politically savvy or religious convictions, but whatever you say about those subjects is going to trigger somebody somewhere, which we don't want. You've got to be sort of careful with that sort of content. I'll pick on Lynn. That's okay. I'll pick on myself. That's okay. I can pick on the English because I'm English. I can do that. I can't pick on the French because I get killed for that. Whatever. So you can think of self-deprecation. Things we're up to. Keep it nice and light and bright. But just there are some subjects you've got to be real careful of, regardless of your convictions, unless you want to go down that route.
There's a way to be controversial without being controversial. And I always, a few months ago now, I'll put a poll up on LinkedIn, which was something like, what do you think when you hear the term business coach?
Yeah.
And the three options were, get me start, great stuff, I don't know, or, what a load of rubbish type thing. And that went absolutely crazy, that poll. And I got some hate for it as well.
From business coaches?
Yeah, from business coaches, yeah. But they were the people who were voting and commenting and propelling this thing, tens of thousands, I can't remember exactly, but tens of thousands of views this thing got, and with a good 1,000 votes and stuff like that. So that was a pretty controversial thing to say without venturing into the politics and religion type route.
It's interesting. You can trigger other coaches. There is this sort of, have to be careful because anyway, let's go down that route, but you can trigger people, but coaches can be triggered really easily if you're not careful. And I think that's one of the challenges for the sector, is that, as we talk about things on here and we're pretty open and, we're listening and learning, some aren't, and that sort of ego, whatever you want to call it, it's quite dangerous. So you've got to be real careful of that as well, but you can trigger other coaches if you're not careful.
It's because it's an unregulated term, which I don't think it should be, by the way. I think being a coach should be a regulated term, like chartered accountant. I think there should be that, but it's because it's unregulated, you get your crazies and your, which just, I think, brings the industry down because they give people a bad experience, and then all of a sudden all coaches are bad. And I just personally think it would be a lot better if there was regulation in the industry.
I think there are at least some standards and some rules and regulations around it. I mean, the ICF attempted to do this, the International Coach Federation. There's a number of them out there, and you're doing great work as well. But it's so broad. It's such a broad area. It's very difficult, I think, to do that. But maybe it'll become sort of self-regulating, because those that all the crazy mob will just evaporate and do something else at some point, perhaps. I'm not sure.
Agreed.
A little bit crazy is good anyway, so we're all right.
No, I think they are very sensitive because, as you said, there's very little people who are succeeding in that. And the statistic you were talking about is actually coming from the ICF itself, because I heard it during a workshop from the ICF. I think it was something like 70% or 80% who dropped during the 3 first years.
Wow.
So, but at the same time, I don't see them doing much about it. So I don't know. They try to include more business related mindsets, because when we go out of the school, and I've seen it in my class as well, is like, we are kind of evangelists and we're going to change everybody, but then there is no business idea behind it.
No.
And it's, I think people are sensitive for this reason, is that they have been sold that it's easy and you can make money easily and you can sell everybody's coaching, but the reality of the market is entirely different. So I think
and I agree, and I think I liken it to you finish training or whatever, and you get told, right, next week you're going to play for Manchester United and there's going to be 80,000 fans watching you, and then you get to the stadium and those 80,000 fans are actually throwing stuff at you.
Yeah.
And that's how I liken it in my head, because you go out with this thing that coaching can change the world, and it absolutely can, but there isn't there is a market there for it, but it's just hard to get that message across.
But I think it's also I think it's the way, and I take your point, Marie, that the training that some coaches get is that we're going to go out and transform the world and change people. I find a lot of coaches, and this is slightly off subject, but a lot of coaches have this approach where they believe people are broken and need fixing or need repairing or need whatever it is. The view I take is that nobody that I work with is broken. They're successful, they're bright, intelligent, enthusiastic, and my job is to help them, raise their game a little bit. That's all. Is to refine it, not to fix it. And I think if you meet a coach where they assume that you're broken, and you can tell with the questions they ask and the approach they take, I think it's pretty toxic. It puts a lot of people off, because if people are really broken, they don't need a coach. They need a medical practitioner, actually, or a psychotherapist. So coaching is not the one for that. But if that's the way they're being trained, I think that's very, very, it's unfortunate. It's bad news as well.
And I think what I was just telling you about earlier, the people that gave me the hate on the LinkedIn post, it really affected me, actually. And I can laugh about it now because, whatever. But, at the time, what I was saying back to them was, because they were saying I was rubbish and all this kind of stuff. And I said, well, I offer a money back guarantee in my coaching practice. Do you? Because I bet you don't, and I think if you were any good, you would, but I don't think you will, because it's not me that's anyway. There was a whole thing. It did trigger me at the time a little bit, but I'm over it now.
Yeah.
As you can tell.
Yeah, exactly. I can tell you, totally unaffected by the whole thing. Cool. All right. Any other thoughts and questions around the online program? I mean, we've got Facebook, LinkedIn, that sort of thing. But I think, Mary, it is that. I think whatever we do, I still think whether it's one-to-one or group or online, we do need to make ourselves, or at least our content, our ideas, famous. We've got to get them out there and punch through and do great content, great videos, great blogs, ideas and principles, that sort of thing, to shine out. Because everybody can talk the talk, but we've got to be able to prove we can walk it as well. That's like cliche central now, isn't it? This is great.
That's a great way to end the webinar, I think.
Exactly. Any final points, thoughts, questions, observations?
Yeah, sorry, I have actually, because you were talking about differentiation, and now you talk again about the way you present yourself. So I actually wrote an article like a week ago or something about that, is that a lot of coaches communicate on how they went from super low to super successful. So whatever it is, like a trauma, I've been raped, I've been this, I was homeless, and so whatever, pick one. I build up a 6-figure business, I become a super well-known author and stuff. Now, I do believe most of that is actually never happened, but they use it as a message to get out and, as you said, become famous. Like, I found it really hard to be authentic with yourself, as in to share your real story, and at the same time be appealing for the outside. Because I have an inspiring story, but I didn't build a 6-figure business. I don't come from trauma or this kind of thing. So how do you stand for this?
I think there's a recognized model, and we all tend to fall into it, where people say, look, I left school with 0 qualifications, my leg fell off and my head dropped over, and I was eaten by lions, but I survived, and I got through, and I rebuilt a plane out of bamboo and flew out of there. It's like flipping out. But there is this sort of this sort of storyboard where they start here and their life is horrible, they fight through it, they have the bad relationship or whatever it is, they come out of it and they go, and I'm immediately successful. And for some reason, it's like a formula that people stick to. I do think people are interested to know our stories, We've all got one, you know, Gareth, you've got one, Kev, absolutely, ex-military veterans, absolutely compelling stories. I'll tell my story about the shops and things like that. Not to try and say that, you know, it wasn't that traumatic. Crikey, I was in Birmingham, it can't be that bad. So it was okay. But I think people should remember that the story they have, regardless of the business or life success, that's what people want to know. How did you get here? What did you do? What did you learn? Who helped you out? Who did this sort of thing? I think just tell your story anyway. It doesn't have to be, you know, maximum trauma and, you know, all this sort of thing. That is a formula that's a bit unfortunate. But I think just tell your story anyway would be the way to go through that.
Very other way of putting
you
it,
guys.
sorry,
Kev.
Yeah, turn your mess into your message.
Oh, look at this. The cliches continue. This is brilliant.
That should be a book. That should be a book.
There's a book. There's the book title. Mess to Message. There you go. But,
I know it. It's good.
It's good. There you go. The book now. Copyright.
I'm on a commission.
The other thing is, Marie, you haven't built a six-figure business yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not yet.
So, yeah.
Just work in progress. Just work in progress. And you don't need to wait until you've built a six-figure business before you can help people and start. Everybody starts with a one-figure business. Everybody starts with the first invoice or the first book or whatever it is. Everybody starts there. And you know, there's another myth that you've got to be successful to be successful. That's why people, you know, bullshit about all this stuff they've done. Yeah. Just add value to a few people, and away you go. No, you'll be absolutely fine.
Cool.
And it can be six figures. Put it in yen. Easy.
Yeah.
You know, just rubles. Easy job.
Well, I'm lucky enough that I'm making an income from other stuff, freelance. So that gives me a lot of mental space and money space for building something properly, which is why I'm getting tips from you guys.
Of course, this is all part of the fun. But again, you know, Jen, if you help enough people, even if you don't charge them for it, I mean, don't do it for free, but you help enough people, that's where the value comes from. That's where the income comes from as well. It's just about helping people. The lady I spoke to up in Northampton, you know, she's not going to be a client. Can I help her and introduce her? Absolutely. She's got a great product, a great service, a great cause. Fantastic. Away we go. That's all part of the fun. So, and we're doing a podcast in a week's time, so you'll see the video as well. It's great.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. I got all of my answers.
It's a pleasure. It's great to see you. So, anything else while we're all together, or is it time to go for a glass of wine and a beer?
Oh, midweek drinking.
Only a small one. Oh yeah, listen. There we go. Yes, sorry, I forgot we got. Yeah, you don't drink at all now, or just not during the week?
I don't drink alcohol.
There you go.
No, don't drink alcohol. No. I will. I'm temporarily stopped. I will drink alcohol in the future, I'm pretty sure. But for the next few months, I don't want to. Yeah.
Good for you. There's no argument against that. That's a brilliant idea. So good for you. And halfway through house move as well. So big week for you. Big week. So next week you'll be in a different location, will you? Or?
There'll be a different background. Yes.
Fantastic. Exciting stuff. All right. And we'll stick to Tuesday, if that's okay. That fits now for everybody, I hope, finally into a pattern. And the subject for next week, then we'll do the sales pitch. How about that? The elevator pitch, sales pitch, the sales conversation. How about that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Fabulous. All right, guys. Well, great to see you. Thank you for participating. Great to see you all. I hope it's been useful. I'll click this end recording in a second or two, and then I'll get it up onto the Athena Rays Facebook, YouTube channel, and subscribe to that. I'll ping you the link, but subscribe to it so you'll see all the ones that are on there anyway. And that would be great to see you on the network as well. So, in the meantime, great to see you. Have a fabulous week. Speak to you as we go along, and see you all real soon. Best of luck with the move, Gareth, as well. Good stuff.
All right, thank you, guys.
See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.